Episode 87. What's going on, everybody? Smells like Wrasslin, episode 87. He's fat! Another great episode of Collision. Got a lot to talk about. The card for Grand Slam is now coming into shape, and I'm telling you guys, it looks fucking amazing. I'm 100% going. I have to get tickets. This is now like a must-see show. I'm telling you right now, Joe and MJF already, I knew, all right, they got me. Eddie and Claudio for all the belts? Come on. It's going to be great. Jericho versus Guevara? Awesome. I am just waiting for Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong to be announced. Because it has to happen, right? I mean, it has to happen. I can't think of anything else. I'm trying to think. There has to be another match, but Grand Slam is shaping up to be a great fucking show. To be quite honest, now I'm trying to figure out, damn, they got a lot of matches. how are they going to fit them all on 2 hours of television? You know what I mean? And then I remember there's a Rampage Grand Slam. So Rampage could technically also be something must watch, depending on if they have to put all these they should put all these matches in and spread them across the 2 shows. I mean, if you want to have another big crowd, like you already had your taste of 80,000, like it'd be nice if AEW could hit 20,000 again at Arthur Ashe. Why don't you put on a card that's worthy of 20,000? You know what I mean? Go all out. If you're going to put Rampage and Dynamite together, go all out. Neck versus Fat next week on Dynamite. The Roddy Strong neck gimmick is awesome. And I always have an affinity for those who are fat in wrestling, because I feel like they put on, I love their matches. They're my favorite matches. The fat matches, the meat matches. Oh my God, I'm going to sneeze. Anywho, SmackDown was all right. I mean, you know, they're doing stuff with Jimmy Uso and AJ Styles, and AJ Styles is also getting into shit with the Judgment Day and with the Bloodline. So, you know, they're trying to keep stuff going in. Pretty much Roman has to like have some sort of like groundwork laid for the next storyline that he's going to get into. So you kind of have to keep all these guys on TV and give them something to occupy themselves and give people a reason to still care about these characters, because Roman is going to come back. And when he comes back, I would assume it's for a big storyline. So you kind of want to keep these guys like fresh and whatnot. Now, the mystery of who's getting drafted over to SmackDown, we still don't know. People have been saying it might be Cody. I'm not so sure. I mean, technically, you don't need Cody on Raw per se, because you kind of have Rollins and the Judgment Day like running the show. So you can move that star power over. If Roman's not going to be around for a while, then might as well, you know, give Cody the ball. He'll be him, LA Knight on SmackDown. Like, that's a good amount of stars on SmackDown. So yeah, so let's talk about Collision. Let me pull up my notes here. There we go. All right. So we had a bunch of stuff that was booked for tonight. It was going to be Roderick Strong versus Darby Allin in the World Title Eliminator Tournament semifinal. Samoa Joe and Penta were going to fight. Jon Moxley defends the international belt against Action Andretti. Chris Statlander puts out an open challenge. We're supposed to hear from Bryan Danielson. There's a trios match. It's oh my God, I'm trying to pronounce this name. Okay, so Gravity, Metalik, Aerostar, and Dios del Inframundo. And then I think he's someone from Lucha Underground. That's what I kind of heard, but I'm not sure. I watched maybe a handful of episodes of Lucha Underground, so I'm not 100% sure. They took on Bullet Club Gold, which was supposed to be Jay White, Juice Robinson, Austin, and Colton Gunn. But Jay White wasn't there. It was just Juice Robinson, Austin, and Colton Gunn. They were going to do a talking segment with Saraya and Ruby Soho. They were going to have another segment with the AEW Trios Champions, The Acclaimed, and Billy Gunn. So there was a lot of stuff that was going on tonight. To start off the show, AEW International Title match. Jon Moxley defeats Action Andretti to retain. Great match. I mean, I was talking a little bit about this on Twitter. Orange Cassidy, I thought, had a really good title reign, and the way that they built his title reign was that the storyline was that Orange Cassidy would just continue to defend this thing no matter what. And every single match he was getting into, he was putting more and more mileage on his body. It was always his hand, or his neck, or his back, or his leg, or his ankle. So that was kind of like how do you say it? It was kind of like the big question mark that hung over every single title match that he had. Was this going to be the one that his body was going to hold up and somebody was going to exploit it and they were going to come away with the win? Or was someone going to, screw him over because it was always him against the odds, and he would have to get the best friends to help. But that was the storyline of the Orange Cassidy title reign. Now, in that storyline, you didn't necessarily have to build up a grudge match with anybody. Before he got into the match, like, he just kind of took on all comers. You know what I mean? He did have a couple of storyline related, title defenses where, people were screwing with Trent and Chucky T, or with Chris Statlander, and he would step in, and, that was the deal. But the majority of his title, defenses, the main storyline is Orange Cassidy's body going to keep up? Having said that, Mox is a little bit of a different kind of character. Orange Cassidy was more of an underdog character, while Mox is not really the underdog. He's kind of the dog. You know what I mean? So now you could kind of flip this another way. Now that could be the whole Orange Cassidy storyline of being the underdog. Now that could also be the storyline for the contenders for Mox's title. These are guys who you are going to send Mox's way so that you're going to put them over in a big way, that you could see that they could have a big match with a big name guy. They don't win, but the crowd now could start to believe that this is a guy who could win something. You know what I mean? And then you kind of keep on doing that until one of these days they kind of pull the trigger on someone that you want them to pull the trigger on. And then all of a sudden everything kind of works out and the belt gets dropped. So Mox is also a guy who could get into a lot of feuds with a lot of people. He doesn't take shit from anybody. So there are a lot of different ways you could book a Jon Moxley international title run. You could also book it where this guy honestly does show up fucking everywhere. He's always in one indie or another doing a show. You could have him defend that belt literally anywhere in the world. That just kind of seems to be the kind of wrestler that Moxley is. He just kind of wrestles wherever. So you could also do that. So there are a lot of different ways that you could book a Jon Moxley title reign. I'm very curious to see how Tony's booking it. Already right now, you could kind of see he's booking like plucky babyface underdogs like Action Andretti to fight Mox. So that's kind of how the match was wrestled, Mox gave, Andretti, a couple of 2 counts and near falls and stuff like that. I don't think the crowd ever believed at any point in time that Action Andretti could actually beat Jon Moxley. Now, technically, if there was anyone who is a great example of a surprise underdog victory, it would be Action Andretti. This is the guy who beat Chris Jericho on a throwaway episode of Dynamite. Nobody saw that coming, So, I guess that was also another storyline that could have been thrown in there. Hey, Action Andretti, he was the guy who beat Chris Jericho. Like, can he do it again? So, there's always that little bit of pizzazz in there. Oh, that would be great. Eddie beating Mox. I mean, Jordan, I think, honestly, if Eddie's going to fight Claudio, and he's going to fight him in New York, he's beating Claudio in New York. You know what I mean? He's beating Claudio in New York, which means he's going to go on a sizable, I think, Ring of Honor needs Eddie to go on a nice, sizable run. I mean, Claudio's been the Ring of Honor champion for a long time. You know what I mean? So, I want Eddie to have that long reign. I think if he wins the ROH world title, I think he's going to vacate the New Japan Strong Openweight title, and that and the winner of that belt is going to be decided at WrestleDream. That's what I think. I think they should do a tournament, and the winner of the tournament wins the New Japan Strong Openweight title at WrestleDream. But I could definitely see Eddie being an international champion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a guy who wants to see Eddie as a world champion. You know what I mean? Will they ever make him world champion? I don't think so, or at least not anytime soon. There are a lot of guys that I would say need to win the world title before I would start saying, all right, the guys who I want to win the world title should be getting a shot. Eddie winning the Ring of Honor World title. Now he's a world champion. He is, and like, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Like, that for me, that means like I break even. It's good for the business. It's good for the storyline. It's good for the title belts. It's good for Eddie Kingston. Definitely. Anywho. Now you got Mox defending it against, So, Jordan in the chat saying that now Mox is defending it against Big Bill. That's true. But, like, now it's just going to be like, all right, maybe is a big guy enough to take out Jon Moxley? You know what I mean? I mean, let's think of it this way. If we're looking at a match between Jon Moxley and Big Bill, in all honesty, Big Bill is the underdog. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I'm saying it from a standpoint of everybody knows no way in fuck Big Bill is beating Jon Moxley. You know what I mean? So, just take him to like a couple, do what they did with Action Andretti. Just take Mox to a couple of near falls, and then Mox does the freaking bulldog choke, and then Bob's your uncle. What else happened after this? They did a pre-tape thing with Roderick Strong talking about Adam Cole. It's fucking hysterical, man, because it's just Roddy Strong. First off, they should come out with a shirt with Roderick Strong with the glasses and the neck brace. Like, just a headshot picture of his face with that face that he makes and all the graphics for his matches. That it's gold. It's fucking gold. Make that shirt, please. Please make that shirt. I would buy it. 100%. 100%. But it's hysterical. I don't think that Roderick Strong is beating MJF. Roderick Strong, the majority of his promos have been towards Adam Cole. Haven't been towards MJF. The majority of Joe's promos have been towards MJF. The writing's on the wall, people. It's going to be Joe versus MJF at Grand Slam. And I honestly, really, truly think they should somehow fit in Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong, because that match would be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. AEW TBS title match. Chris Statlander defeats Robin Renegade. This is the prop. The matches that Chris Statlander... Okay, I will say this. The match that Chris Statlander had with Ruby Soho at All Out, I enjoyed. I thought it was a solid match. They're two solid wrestlers. I knew that no way Ruby was going to win. I mean, it could have happened. I mean, if she would have won, that's a pill I could have swallowed. Ruby's been trying to get this for a while. Statlander is already over. Would I feel like Statlander deserved a little bit of a longer title reign? Yeah, but the argument could be made no, because as much as I love Chris Statlander, it's just her character just, there's no personality yet. Like, how do I put this? I'm not connecting to the character yet. I don't know what it needs. I just feel like it just needs something. Whatever she's saying, to me, I just don't feel like it's believable. You know what I mean? Like, okay, she's Chris Statlander. She's super strong. All right, like, I just need more from that. You know what I mean? Like, I know she's tough. I know she's a good guy. I know all this shit, but it's just like, like Britt Baker, like, like she's a dentist and she has an ego and she's got a mean streak and she's the baddest bitch on the block and she's got attitude and she's got, like, there's layers to the Britt Baker character. I just feel like there aren't enough layers in the Chris Statlander character. I just kind of want to see more from her. And until I see more from her, it's just hard for me to get invested in her matches because there isn't a lot of talent in that division that you could bring to the table to give her a good match. So, like, if you're not going to give me matches worth watching based on the strength of character development, you got to give me good matches in ring. And, like, if you can't give me either, it's going to be a really hard sell. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think me a year ago would be saying this, but Jade Cargill is exactly what this Chris Statlander title reign needed. She came in after Jade had already wrestled a match, so an argument could be made that like Statlander won the belt when Jade wasn't 100%. Jade obviously is a heel. I mean, she did get cheered, but like she's a character. You know what I mean? And I think that if they do this right, they could make a match worth watching between Chris Statlander and Jade Cargill. You know what I mean? Jade Cargill is one of the rare women in that division who can match the power of Chris Statlander. So they could do a lot of great shit together. I think they could play off of each other very well. I do think in terms of promos and character and getting me emotionally invested in the feud, shockingly enough, I think that the majority of that is going to be carried by Jade Cargill. You know what I mean? I really have yet to see like a blow-away promo to get me caring about Chris Statlander. You know what I mean? I love Chris Statlander or whatever, Long Islander, great wrestler, great personality. I'm a storytelling guy. A lot of why I watch wrestling is because of the way that they tell stories, whether on the mic and in the ring. So these things care, and I would want an individual who I feel has a lot of the talents necessary to succeed in this business to be given some material that elevates their character in a way that I think that they should be elevated. I feel like that's the nicest, most honest way I could put that across. I don't want it to sound like I don't like Chris Statlander because I think she's awesome. I just want better for her, I guess. And yeah, and Saraya's gimmick is just like she's British and, you know, she's a badass and she's an anti-diva and this and that. And, you know, I mean, the thing with Saraya, like her gimmick really played well in the WWE because she was supposed to be the anti-diva. You know what I mean? So like all these other women in the division were supposed to be like these pinup models. You know what I mean? And then we all know how the story goes. They put her on Total Divas and I thought it was an abject disaster. And I think it was one of the worst things that they did for her career and her life in general. I think it was so much fame for someone so young, so soon. And, you know, there was a lot of things that she had to deal with afterwards. So, I mean, who's to say it wasn't due to the pressure from that kind of environment? Anywho, so, Jade Cargill comes back. She lays her out with the Jaded. And here we go. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Jade Cargill and Chris Statlander. Backstage, Renee Paquette's with Saraya and Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho was upset at Toni Storm because, you know, Toni cost Ruby the title. She was going to, use the spray paint and get the better of Chris Statlander, win the belt, when Toni just took it out of nowhere and just pranced away. Saraya was saying that she saw Toni in the makeup room putting mayonnaise on her face and running around and throwing shoes. She also had mentioned that she wants to walk into Grand Slam as champion. That was where she debuted, which is true. I was there. Next segment. This is one of the better ones. One of the more ones I was more excited about. Tony Schiavone was backstage with Claudio and Eddie Kingston. Claudio kind of just pretended to not understand why Eddie had any problem with him and didn't understand any issues that Eddie had with him, and basically was just playing dumb the whole time. It was really great because he just refuses to accept that Eddie is anyone that he should be worth wasting his spending his time with. He feels like he was wasting his time just even being in the same room, sharing the same air as Eddie Kingston, which was awesome. The hatred between these two was palpable. Kingston said that the problems that he had with Claudio started when he left the independents before giving Eddie the match that he wanted. You know, they were building this massive feud up between Eddie and Claudio Went to the WWE before he gave Eddie that match. And Eddie pretty much held that grudge ever since. So, of course, now in AEW, their paths converge where they haven't been able to for over 10 years. So, Kingston challenged Claudio to a title-for-title match. So, at Grand Slam. So, Eddie's going to be putting up the strong open weight belt. And Claudio's going to be putting up the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. And the winner's going to come away with 2 belts. And this is going to happen at Grand Slam. And I pray to God it's fucking Eddie Kingston. Because if Eddie fucking Kingston doesn't win the title in New York, there's going to be a fucking riot. I'm telling you that right now. Eddie Kingston, I think, I'm trying to remember. I didn't put it in my notes, but there was a great line that Claudio had. And he was just, I don't know what it was, but it was just definitely a great promo between the two of them. Swiss versus Fat in Queens. It's going to be great. Bullet Club Gold, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Juice Robinson defeated Aerostar, Dios del Inframundo, and Gravity. Now, the Bullet Club entrance continues to be one of my favorite entrances in wrestling. This time they put the cardboard switchblade in place of the actual in place of the actual Jay White, and they did the whole thing. I thought it was great. I love Bullet Club Gold. They've been booked absolutely spectacularly in AEW. These are guys who have challenged for the AEW tag team belts at least twice, and haven't won them, and they're still over as fuck. They had Andrade looking on also during this match. It was Bullet Club Gold that comes away with the victory. Of course, they should 100% continuously be winning. I'm very curious as to the future of Bullet Club Gold. Eventually, Bullet Club Gold is going to need some gold. And how or when and by what means they're going to get that, I'm not sure, but it's got to happen sooner or later. The Dark Order basically had more, now they're doing infomercials again, so I guess they're kind of going a little bit back to their roots and recruiting once more, so that's happening. The Acclaimed said they're going to be in New York for Grand Slam. They're going to continue all their title defenses. They're calling it the Acclaimed World Tour. It started in London. It went to Chicago. It's going to keep on going. So we'll see what's next for the trios champions. Rey Fenix defeated Angelico. We pretty much knew this was going to be a high-flying lucha match. Both of them luchadors. It was Phoenix that comes away with the victory. Tony Schiavone was backstage with FTR. Dax Harwood says that they are the best team, and to be the best team, they have to continuously defend these belts against best teams. He announced the FTR World Tag Team Challenge, and he would they said that they're going to defend their belts against any young team that wants a belt. So we're where now we're basically going to send out these young tag teams against FTR and pretty much see which of these kids could pull off a great match and see who's worthy to be considered as a serious deal in the AEW tag team division. So I'm very curious who they're going to throw against FTR. FTR could put on a 5-star match with 2 fucking broomsticks. So I'm excited to see them wrestle different people who I've never seen them wrestle before. And I'm hoping some good comes from this, because I'm telling you this right now, and I said this on Twitter, that they have not built up any other tag teams aside from Bullet Club Gold and the Young Bucks in that tag team division for a long time. So FTR is very slim on opponents. You know what I mean? Like, who are they going to face? Like, what tag teams should me as a viewer take seriously anymore in that division? They have Dynamite, they have Collision, they have plenty of television time. They also have Rampage. They have plenty of television time to start building up some better tag teams. I'd like to see that start happening. AEW World Grand Slam Eliminator Tournament semifinal match. That was a fucking mouthful. Roderick Strong defeats Darby Allin. Darby Allin gets attacked by Luchasaurus and Christian backstage. Again, they focused on the back that Darby Allin said he had injured in the coffin match at All In. So I'm assuming this story is going to continue between Darby and Christian and Luchasaurus. I'm assuming this will culminate with Darby winning the TNT belt. And then, honestly, the way that Tony's booking right now, I would not be surprised if they book Darby to win and then Darby reinstitutes the TNT Open Challenge and they start now trying to build up some singles guys and have them have matches with Darby and see if something works. I mean, honestly, if they're not going to be doing that, that's what I think they should be doing. I mean, otherwise, like, don't have these guys have useless matches. You know, if they're going to be putting young talent against these champions, they should be putting young talent against these champions with the sole purpose of showcasing them with a guy who should be able to give them a good match and see how the crowd reacts to them. Otherwise, like, how are you going to be building young stars? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Or how are we going to continue to keep titles legitimate if they're just going to be doing, like, useless matches and shit? I just think it's ridiculous. So, Roderick Strong beats Darby Allin. Obviously, they protect Darby with, you know, all the attacks and the back injuries and then this and that. I think this is going to lead to a Nick Wayne versus AR Fox match. Because they are continuously having a problem. I mean, it was a pretty tough pill to swallow to have AR Fox come back, but the explanation that Darby gave, it was kind of hard to refute. To kind of overcome because, you know, he said that he used a real life story. Like him and Nick Wayne's father weren't on speaking terms, and Darby never got to mend that fence before, Buddy Wayne died. So it makes sense for Darby to be like, hey, listen, like, yeah, he did something foul, but, like, life is precious and, like, I don't want to hold resentment, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, like, it kind of protects Darby's character and doesn't make him sound like a complete and total putz. But I do think that Nick Wayne and AR Fox have some issues that they need to kind of mesh out. And I think this would be a good win for Nick Wayne over someone with... Someone with some, like, notoriety, like AR Fox. Like, AR Fox isn't a nobody, but AR Fox necessarily isn't, like, a high-end, top-tier guy, so... I don't know. Let's keep on going. Powerhouse Hobbs talks about Miro, and the Book of Hobbs was still unfinished, so he's going to keep on going. Keith Lee was backstage. He said he's going to be doing things solo, and he's offering his opponents a piece of advice: run. So that was kind of a little ode to Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. The Fiend. So they did a video package of The Righteous, which is Vincent, Dutch, and Stu Grayson. They need to start building guys. Like, I want to know more about The Righteous. I know that there are guys from Ring of Honor. Now that they're on Collision, I'm curious. Let's see what they got. Tony Schiavone welcomes Bryan Danielson to the ring. Danielson said that he opens up saying he promised his daughter that he would retire by the time she turned 7, and she's 6 right now. So Daniel Bryan's already kind of ringing the bells like, listen, I'm going to be hanging up the boots. But Daniel Bryan says before he does that, he's going to go on one of the most epic runs of all time. That gets me stoked. Bryan Danielson wanting to have the greatest final year in pro wrestling history is something I could 110,000% get behind. And he's already off to a good start because he's calling out Zack Sabre Jr. Yes, people, the dream match is going to happen. The technical wrestler versus technical wrestler. Zack Sabre Jr. has won the Bryan Danielson Award more times than anybody. And guess who the award is named after? Fucking Bryan Danielson. The most technically gifted wrestler ever. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be fucking incredible. And it is going to be at AEW New Japan Wrestle Dream in October. So already that match, stoked. I'm also thinking that it's quite possible that Darby could win the TNT title at WrestleDream, being that WrestleDream is in his hometown of Seattle. So, that card already, like, I'm liking this. I feel like for a short period of time, I had doubts on the booking capabilities, the pay-per-view booking capabilities of Tony Khan. I was worried. I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to happen. Then All Out happened. It was awesome. All In happened. It was awesome. Forbidden Door 2 happened. It was fucking awesome. Grand Slam is shaping up to be booked as an awesome fucking show. And WrestleDream is going to be headline, or at least potentially headline, by Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Fuck yeah, Tony Khan. Fuck yeah. Ricky Starks comes into the ring with Big Bill. This is actually a part where I was a little bit surprised. Danielson offers Starks a spot in the Blackpool Combat Club, to which Starks and Big Bill said no by beating the shit out of Danielson. This led to Jon Moxley coming to the ring for the save for Danielson, but Big Bill wipes him out. This ends up leading to Danielson versus Big Bill next week for the International Championship. I think that's happening on Dynamite. But yeah, that match is happening. And Ricky Starks chokes out Danielson with the Blackpool Combat Club shirt that was offered to him. Danielson, I guess, going neck and neck for who could sell, being choked out the best this year between him and Ricky Starks. They did a rundown of the card for Dynamite. Jon Moxley versus Big Bill for the International Championship. There was a rundown of the Collision card for next week. It was FTR versus the Iron Savages. So a young tag team going to test their mettle against FTR. Let's see what they got. And this, like, if you are going to, like I said, the tag team division needs tag teams to be built. If there was ever a way to start a build or a push for you as a tag team, I would say it's having a great match with FTR on national television. Just putting it out there. They also announced it's official. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. was made official for the WrestleDream pay-per-view. Tony Schiavone backstage with Big Bill. He said he beat Moxley's axe. He's going to do it again in Moxley's hometown. Lucha Brothers come in saying that Phoenix was the next in line for Moxley. So I'm assuming that after the Big Bill match, it's going to be Moxley versus Rey Fenix for the international belt, which should be also a great match. But it looks like now Bill said Penta should be worried about his match with Samoa Joe. That brings us to the main event of Collision tonight. Samoa Joe defeats Penta and advances to the finals in the AEW World Title Grand Slam Eliminator Tournament. It's going to be Samoa Joe versus Roderick Strong. And the winner of that match will go on to face MJF for the world title at Grand Slam. Listen, people. It could go either way. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But Samoa Joe needs to win. Samoa Joe versus MJF is the match that gets butts in seats at Grand Slam. Samoa Joe versus MJF is the match that gets people to tune in and watch on a Wednesday night. Samoa Joe versus MJF is the match that needs to fucking happen. Great match as usual. I mean, you put two guys in the ring like Samoa Joe and Penta, there's no way you could have a bad match. I don't think anybody expected Penta to win this match, so but they still had a great match regardless. And hey, like I said, I think that Grand Slam is shaping up to be an amazing fucking card. I am 100% buying tickets to that show. I can't wait to be there live to see it. I wonder if did I request the day off? I hope I did. That'd be silly of me not to. Nice. I did get off, request off. Hooray for me. No other obligations for Egric. So, guys, that's the end of the show. I appreciate you all for watching. Jordan, thanks for being active in the chat. I appreciate you, brother. Next time you will see me will be this Wednesday. We will be talking about Raw we will be talking about who wins between Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe. It's going to be Samoa Joe. And any other wrestling news that's worth talking about. Guys, it's a pleasure doing this with y'all. I always have a fun time podcasting, whether it's 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000 of you guys. So thank you very much for watching. Again, follow me on Twitter, Wrasslin, L-I. That's WRASSLIN, L-I. Wrasslin, L-I, and on Twitter, or X, as it's now called. Follow me there. Hear my thoughts and anecdotes throughout the week. Updates on the podcast, all that good shit. That's it. I think I'm going to go play some World War Z. Maybe some Aliens Fireteam Elite. I don't know. But I'm fixing to bring the hurt. Yeah. Guys, take care. See you Wednesday, 10 p.m.